And we are live. This is the On the Job Training Podcast, the podcast for postal employees, where each and every week we put the spotlight on one of our fellow employees as we discuss all things postal, along with everything else this crazy life has to bring, man. I'm your host, Dre, and joining me as always is my co host, Savior Black, in the building. This podcast does not represent the views and opinions of the United States Postal Service. This and all views are the views of the On the Job Training Podcast. This week's spotlight guest, I got to put out that disclaimer for the people. This week's spotlight guests are our fellow employees, Luis Pulido and Cory Sherrard. We got a good topic today. They're here to discuss the transition from being officers in the military to being postal employees now, and what all they've learned along the way, along that journey. So we appreciate you guys coming on, man.
Oh,
You guys were officers?
no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Almost. Did that,
Okay, so educate me. So if you're in the military, I thought you started off as an officer of some sort.
No.
Tell
can.
me. Let me know.
No, you got the enlisted branch. You got the officers branch, and it's like, well, I mean, it's kind of like the officers.
The officers usually have educational background. They usually have a degree of some sort.
Okay, so when you first come in, what are you?
Enlisted.
Yeah, just
You're
enlisted.
just an enlisted,
people that-
enlisted soldier.
Right.
Yeah.
What
okay.
soldier, sailor, marine, airman,
yeah.
whatever. As I so you have, like I said, there's two different ways you can come in. You can either come in as an officer, which normally means you came in out of college, or you come in as an enlisted, which no college, you just came
Straight
in.
out of high school or GED.
Oh, so the military can hire you if you have a degree, and you'll go in as an officer.
Correct.
Oh,
And-
wow.
And I want to say.
And this equates to
also have warrant officers.
higher status.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get. Yeah.
Oh yeah, as a so
Definitely.
they're the leaders, right? So as a those are the ones who are going to tell you what to do and all that type of stuff. Who set the as a so you have generals and lieutenants and all that stuff. That's going to be there.
Yeah.
Whereas for the enlisted, that's when you have for us as a well. How do you guys classify yours for the
Rank grade structure.
great? Yeah, because from E1 to E9. Because for us, it's
Yeah.
in the Navy it was petty officers and
From private to
chiefs.
sergeant major.
Okay.
And then command sergeant majors. The ones that are either in charge of battalions or squads, or they're in the general staff or whatever, and they're command sergeant majors.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, well, I appreciate you guys educating me, man.
It's a lot of jargon, a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, but a lot of people don't. They get it confusing, but also we have enlisted I was enlisted and I had a degree. I mean,
Yeah, I didn't mean it like.
yeah.
Oh no, we had guys who came
Right.
in with degrees. They just
Right,
didn't want to be officers. I had a guy on a boat.
Doesn't mean I'm smart.
No, they actually go to training. When you come in with a degree and you want to be an officer, you go to a different type of training.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
They call it officer candidate school.
Yeah, OCS.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, this is some of the stuff that I wish I would. So, I always had I guess one of my regrets in this life is not serving my country. I was really close coming out of. I went to college for a little bit. I had a kid. My mom was like, "Hey, man, I'm not taking care of your child."
Right.
So I went and enlisted. And the day before I was supposed to go meet with the recruiter, sign all the paperwork, I ended up at the post office. I got the phone call. So I always listen to you guys and the benefits that you guys now have. Coming out with housing benefits and
Yeah, there's some good benefits. Oh, sorry guys. Thundercats, baby. I thought I had that, man.
Hey,
What y'all know about Thundercats, man? Y'all Lion-O?
Yeah, cheetah.
Petro. Yeah, we did that.
Oh, he's a fan.
We did that. Oh yeah, definitely.
Thundercats. That right there. Got to give it up for Thundercats.
Oh man, but yeah, you can go through the OCS program if you have like I think they used to do where you only just had to have like 90 credits, and you went in, and then you just and then you have to finish up your school, bachelor's. But you don't stop once you go on the officer side. Like I have friends in the officer side. They also require you to continue your education. They have to get masters, and those generals have to have doctorates and whatever.
Yeah.
And then
That's part of their advancement plan.
the advancement programs.
Wow.
And then
I wonder how prevalent that is, because somebody who's already made it through college, I imagine that wouldn't be.
They wouldn't take that route.
I
join the
wouldn't
military.
think so unless you
Right.
got a family member or somebody
It
kind of.
depends. I say,
You feel an obligation. A lot of people feel obligated. 'Cause
Sometimes.
their dad, grandparents were in the military, so they're kind of.
yeah, I say because one of the things like when I was in, especially with the medicals, I don't know how you guys did your doctors and everything like that, but their degree their rank wasn't looked upon the same way, but they would come in with as a high ranking officer
Right.
and be a doctor.
Right.
Or or you would go through school like they have these things we call them ROTC programs, or ROTC programs. They call them ROTCs. And a lot of times what'll happen is they'll tell you that in exchange for you coming into the military, or at least for the Navy, you come into the Navy, they'll pay your college tuition once you finish, but you owe them 6 years minimum, right?
my
So,
brother did that.
yeah, I'd say so. You'll come in as an officer. You'll go through OCS instead of going through boot camp, wherever that's at. For us in the Navy, it was up in Great Lakes. Not Great. I need to get that word out. We call it's Great Lakes up there in Illinois, right next to Chicago. But instead of doing the enlisted path, you would go officer path, and the officer path would be you would go to Florida, someplace for OCS. But that would be after you got your degree, you go through OCS, and now you owe Uncle Sam 6 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, they owe some time.
Yeah.
I caught that Freudian slip, man. Great.
Well, that's the nickname we have for it as in the Navy. We call it as everybody. We refer to it as Great Mistakes. It's Great Mistakes, Illinois. That's where you go for as a. But I know at each branch you guys have y'all thing on how y'all do it as well in the Army, right?
Right.
Yeah, you got your different training camps. So training camp.
Where did you go?
I went to Fort Knox. I think. Would you go to Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is for you
and
guys.
they call it
for you guys boot camp, initial boot camp.
Yeah, like Jackson. There's a saying they call it "relaxing Jackson." That's where
Well, talk to me more about that. Like, how old were you
I
guys?
was 19 when I got
19. What about you?
20.
20-year-old base kids.
You're a
Honestly,
kid,
I was in the same situation as you, where my girlfriend got pregnant and had to make a decision, and I knew I wasn't going to school, so
Yeah, let's pull that over. For
Is
you.
this something that you were kind of you felt like you were pushed to do it,
me
or
and
like
two of my partners,
came up with-
Eric Shagwar and Anthony Hoskins, we both just went to the recruiting station and talked to them. Next thing you know, we all joined. Now, we were all supposed to leave together and go to Fort Hood. Last second, I backed out. My cousin came to me,
Yeah.
and he had just got out. And he said, "Hey, what you going in for?" I can't think of the number, but it was chemical. And he said, "You don't want to do that." So I was like, "I don't. Okay then." So last second, we all was supposed to leave in October, November. I changed my whole MOS, and so I had to leave in January. And we were all supposed to go to Fort Hood. Eric wound up going to Fort Stewart, Georgia. Coincidentally, I wound up going through all my training. I wound up going to Fort Stewart.
Oh wow.
And Boosie wound up going to Fort Hood. And he was like, "Fuck y'all for doing that." But yeah.
Led me astray, man.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but I imagine stuff like that comes up all the time where you get new information and you
Yeah,
got to make a
yeah.
decision. These
got- yeah.
decisions are made quick.
Yeah, just like you got the information to give with the Postal Service, and you could have made a decision either way.
Yeah.
And you made a good decision.
Yeah,
so.
you did.
Yeah.
You know, the funny part about it is, for me, when I was getting ready to go in, I went in a lot later than both of you guys did. I went in when I was 24 going on 25. And I was doing, and I was like, I want to do some kind of service. I signed up for the fire department. Went through and took the test. I was down there in South Texas. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but went to the academy down there, took all the tests, took the written, took the physical. I'm like, man, it's been about a year. They're not interested. So I enlisted. I'm like, I want to do something service oriented. I did plumbing. I did hotel management. I did hotel security, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, you're a handyman.
Well, yeah, well, like I said, by that time it's like I got a family. I'm like, okay, well, I want to do something service related. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for the military. Signed up for the military. I'm shipping out in August. Just before the month before I shipped out, I get a call back from the fire department. Are you still interested? And I'm like, I already enlisted.
man.
And they're like, well, are you still interested?
A whole trajectory.
Yeah, I'm
You,
like,
you didn't know at the time that if you didn't leave,
I didn't know I
Right.
didn't know that at the time, and I'll
Right.
be honest with you, based off of how I am and how I operate, even if I knew at the time, if I signed up and I put my name down, I would have still went. I tell my cousins the same thing because it's like I'm like, I had one who went in as a striker in the military which I guess for you guys would be like no MOS at all, where he was like, I'll find out once I get there what I'm gonna do.
really,
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know that was a thing.
in the Navy, it's called a striker, right? And my recruiter was like, two things he couldn't pitch in good conscience. One was striker, and the other was nuke. I understand why on both of them at this point, but for him at the time, he was like, those are two things he can't. He couldn't, pitch to people coming in. Mm-hmm. And I told my cousin the same thing, but he was like, I want to do that. I'm like, nah, all right, do what you gonna do. Yeah. I'm just telling you, that's not. Figure.
I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, then okay, that's fine.
He's like, but I can figure it out once I'm there. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, my situation was kind of different. I did. It was like when mom was like so much in like I was playing football. I wanted to play football, but then when I see the towers getting hit, the patriotism came in, and I was like, shoot. I was like, man, let's go fight. And I was like, what's the fastest route I can get out of here?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so
but they
that
call
kinda,
us,
yeah.
the combat arm guys. They call them knuckle draggers or whatever. You know what? So
However, I just want to get in.
yeah, I just like get in. So
I want to serve. I want to get in there.
I want to get in. So it was like finished up school and just became a 19 Delta. But I also talked out ex-girlfriend of mine don't join because I wanted to join. I didn't want her to be in the army and she didn't want to be in it. I was like, okay, but I want to get in so I can go and I want to serve my country. But it also had its perks too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely does that.
And but it was I had a great experience.
Yeah.
Everything I did.
I almost feel like everyone, when you graduate, unless you're going, that you're going to college and you know exactly what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's no floating around. Either you go to college, or you find a job with some upper mobility, or you go to the military.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
I like that thought process.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't like how, parents are forgetting that there's a huge trade that kids can learn
While they're in. Right.
And then also even the demand of trades, not where you're in, like electricians, plumbers. Man, there's all types of jobs that people
don't know, but they don't know about it.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
honestly,
the thing.
unless your family is in the military, I have a military family. I have cousins, uncles. We've all been in, so we know. We educate each other on it, and that's fine. But if you have a family who they all went to college, you notice most families all want to go to college. They all go to college.
And that was
they
the
don't mess
case,
with the military,
yeah.
and they talk bad about the military honestly because they don't know.
The most smartest people I ever met were veterans or in the military.
Yeah.
The brightest mind, and that's where I got educated and brought up quickly, especially in wartime.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just go there. You have to. Your head's on the swivel.
Yeah, because that life experience.
It's a life experience.
Yeah, it plays a
quick.
huge part. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's like there's only the paths that they give children today coming out of high school, right? I call them indoctrination centers, are schools that we put them in.
I think
But
I agree with that.
Yeah, they teach them college. That's
Right.
that's the only path that you have. You can't learn a trade. You can't do the military. You can't. None of those other paths are valid. The only path that's going to get you anywhere is college.
Just get a degree.
Yeah, I say go in there, go in debt,
Yeah.
go deeply in debt, and after you go deeply in debt, maybe you might be one of those ones that are outliers that are gonna get ahead, and you're gonna stump on everybody else to get yourself up there. You got to get to college. And I'm like, okay, there's other paths out there. You can do other things.
right.
Yeah, I say there's the
Yeah, I
military,
think these
there's
young
trade
kids
schools.
are kind of figuring that out.
They are.
now.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are.
I say, and that's the thing is like you go through high school. I call them indoctrination. The teachers there are just telling the kids, they're telling the students, college, Your only path in
That's
life
what
is
they
college.
did.
That's what they
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you're
So,
exactly right.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was like, have you ever wondered how much a dude gets paid fixing the elevator or the escalators?
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah, I think-
And the one I know is Baller. Shout out to David.
I always laugh because it's like what I didn't know. Like I came down here to Texas, no one ever told me when I first came down here. Like oil and gas. Not only is Texas known for oil and gas, but not only is it known for it, but it pays good. I say when I was an IT project manager, and we have the rigs out there. And what I didn't know that these roughnecks, these guys coming in there with no experience, would come in there and they would start off and they're starting off and they're making around $60,000 a year, starting off on working a rig, right? No experience, no knowledge whatsoever. They're not a driller. They're not a the rig manager. That's the proper name now for them. They're doing none of. They're not offshore. They're onshore. And they're making 60. It's like immediately their money went towards a new, say, a F-250,
Right.
and the strip clubs, right? Hoes and cars was immediately where their money went, but it was just the fact that it's like, and you're looking at it, it's like nobody tells you coming in. Nobody tells you coming in that this is a path. This is an option for you, right? It's like, but the only one, college. That's the only thing. It's like, you can make $60,000 a year as soon as you get out of high school.
Debt.
Yeah, no debt.
No debt.
I say, go on and doing something. If you enjoy it, great. If not, you can stack some paper for a hot minute.
Busting hoes.
Yeah.
You ain't stacking no paper.
Oh, no, that's the problem. It's like,
Single man, though.
I'm saying,
good money.
but the
Yeah.
possibility is there for you to do it. Are they gonna do it at that age? Like I said, you've been at age. I say, especially when I get the guys that when I was in, you would get the guys that come in. I don't know. Maybe you guys were like this when you guys went in immediately, but they would come in and they would blow all their cash. It's like because you have BAH, but you're staying in the barracks. You have all this money that you have coming in. And we go on deployment and like you stacking all this money, and then they would come off deployment and they would blow all of it. I'm like.
That's just being a young person.
That's being.
That's exactly what it is.
You gotta be broke at least 4 or 5 times to realize, all right, I can't keep doing this shit.
We perving it up at the strip.
How the fuck you in the military and you asking your mama to send me some money, man?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
They feed you every day. I guess that answers kind of my first question. What kind of compelled you guys to want to join? What was your decision-making process in you joining in the first place? And then you say it was to take care of your
Definitely.
upcoming family, and you just felt a sense of pride.
That was 1911 for you, right? Or
Well,
9/11.
I came
1911.
in-
Like I'm talking guns.
Well, you had the Afghan War, 2001,
right.
and then you had the 2003 invasion of Iraq. I think in somewhere in August, September, Saddam, and then I went in right after that 2003, and then 2004, right straight into the Iraq War.
Okay.
And then went there 3 years, and then it was a chaotic situation. But each operation was different. But what compelled me is like, well, it was just the sheer the thing like, hey, you attack the Americans. It's like me, man, I ain't gonna I love you. Ain't nobody can fucking touch you.
Right.
But that's your personality anyway.
That's my personality. Like,
If anybody knows Luis, this the dude you want to be next to in a bar fight.
I'm
want him watching
I'm
your
not
back.
gonna throw a punch at you. I'm gonna grab a fucking chair. I'm gonna knock you the hell out.
Yeah.
That's the guy I am. And I was like, I'll be nice and Gary, but it was like, what was that? Joe and Mathis be I think if I don't mess this up, you said be nice and kind to everybody, but always have a plan to kill everybody.
Yeah.
I think I messed up the quote. He has
Something on those lines.
So I guess that going into my next question, how has you guys' experience in the military changed your outlook on
the world?
Yeah, just your whole worldview politically. Like, how is you having that experience that most of us don't have? How do you guys see things differently from what most Americans would look at what's going on? Do you see a broader, because you guys are traveled and you've been inside?
I think we're asleep behind the wheel. In the sense that
People in general, or the country?
the country and the people, like we live in this bubble thing, and it's like people don't realize like people are gambling with your lives or your money, and then uh, it's like the like all this stuff could have been prevented, like the terror attack, Saddam Hussein could have been prevented. You know, like we supported him in the Iran-Iraq war, and we know this guy was like the Hitler of the Middle East, and you know, but the enemy was Iran. I was like, but this isn't the right guy to fund.
But that has and that's where it's like understanding the whole, and we don't look at the whole world picture, at least from my perspective.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I agree with you.
Because I look at even Osama bin Laden.
We funded him.
I would say that's the point. As a we don't realize that the 9/11 thing was something that we did, and this is I'm not talking about the people that go like, oh well, we blew up the towers. I'm talking about when Afghanistan was at war with Russia and they were trying to kick Russia behind and getting Russia out of there. We provided them with Stinger missiles. That was how they found out we were there. We taught the Taliban how to fight. We trained them on how to do all that stuff.
Charlie Wilson's war.
Correct.
The congressman we funded, but it was us to get revenge on them back from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And the Chinese as well.
Yeah.
But our Chinese and the Russians are not our friends. They're like shady ass people that we have to say like, hey, you know, we have to put boundaries on them.
Yeah.
And we don't do that.
And so it's like
Because we don't live it in the moment.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what we want right now. So
Yeah, because it's like nobody looked at it like, okay, well, because
I'm saying the government, there's
not
a lot
the people. I think
good, Russians are. I have some good Russian friends and Chinese friends. But I'm just saying that a lot of these governments are corrupt, even ours. But you know, there's a lot of shady stuff going on that.
Well, that was the thing for me because I had a security clearance, pretty high security clearance at the time. Not like Edward Snowden high. Well, it was. I wasn't in that compartment, but it was just one of those things that you start seeing things coming across the wire, and you're looking like,
yeah, you see stuff on.
Yeah, you're like, is that?
yeah.
Should that be? Is that really? Not. And then it's like you start looking at it, it's like,
But you know, but yeah, it's eye opening as you mentioned. That
Is it? Let me ask you this: is it different being in? Because you're insulated inside that world, and you're
But you're not.
out.
You're not really insulated.
No.
I mean, when I
People
stayed in Georgia, I stayed in a community in Hinesville, Georgia, and you interact with civilians all the time, and you live with civilians all the time.
Was your opinion different? Like I guess during times of war.
Well,
or
you know
conflict?
more.
You know more.
Right. So you look at things a little bit differently than they may look at it. But,
Well, let me ask you this question, Cory, because I guess for me, looking at it from a naval perspective, because you're talking about being in the community, was the community a military community or was it a civilian community for you guys? Because I know when I was in military housing and everything was like a military.
Well, when I stayed on base, it's a military community. But when you stay off base, civilians and everything else, right?
Okay.
It's just like that. And honestly, they feed those small communities. They feed off the military.
Right.
So they love the military, you know, and they support the military and everything that's going on because that's how they make their living.
Okay, so that's interesting because for me it was even in staying off base, it was still like the base. So it was off the base, but everything around it, they had each of the housing complexes, or not complexes, but the communities were military at the time. Military home, like military housing is what it was. So you had. I don't want to name it. Well, I probably should name them, but I say there were different military housing parts that were there. So you stayed at home.
We had the subdivisions that had their own names on base.
Right.
But then once you go off base,
yeah, for us though, it was ours was off
base.
You know, on the in the Navy, there was Navy housing on base, and then there was all the stuff that was ancillary around the base, and then you had to get past that before you get places where it was like Pfizer was out there and other things where it's like okay, so and that's why I was asking the question because for me it was a little different. That's why I'm interested in getting that perspective from you because for us it was, at least from my perspective, it was where I was stationed at for those 5 years. It was a little different.
I understand what he's saying too because like when I was 19 and I was at Fort Campbell, I wasn't really open to the world.
Right.
Like I was at home just going to school, and when I was there in that community. And you go to, you're starting to see shady shit.
oh man,
oh my
oh
god!
My gosh, hey, the way they feed off of us. I mean, there were places where you could write a post-dated check for food. Like I can go and write it. Because you're thinking the military, you supporting your country, you serving your country.
Oh, but they're
that
kinda
you're
taking
making money,
advantage.
but you're not making that kind of money.
Yeah.
You're not at all, especially when you first go in. So we're writing post-dated checks just to eat, and then they cash it when you get paid.
Because they know you're good for y'all are good for it.
Yeah.
Oh, they would tell us. I don't know if they told you guys,
Was it,
but they would tell us like with cars.
Cars.
don't-
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah, I was
the
just
car
saying,
dealerships. Yeah. I mean, because you don't have a car, you just get in there. You need a car. Oh yeah,
They they found out you military.
Gotcha. Oh yeah,
but-
you can pay every payday. Just worry about it. Just pay when you get paid.
Do you see the interest rate?
And they would yeah,
You
exactly.
don't think about interest rates when you're that young.
And they would tell you they would don't wear your uniform when you go in, because what you don't realize, in the private sector, your pay is confidential between you and the employer or whatever.
Oh, they know how much you're getting paid.
But you walk in and
With
you
your
have
rank on?
Yeah, you walk in. It's like, oh, he's an E3 or E4. Okay, so E3, E4. This is how much they get paid. Oh, and then they talk to you for how many. Oh, you married? Oh, okay. Well, he's
Yeah,
getting.
oh, yeah.
Are you living in a military housing or not? Oh, he's not. Okay, that's
rake all that
BAH.
stuff in.
And and then they look at your rocker. Oh, he's at a seagoing command, so that's C pay. He gets that too. Oh, it's a sub. Oh, that's that's sub pay that he's getting. Right?
This is your payment.
Yeah, exactly. And they've already calculated up.
Walking
And
into
they
the
look at
dealership
shit
with
like-
your credit score written on your forehead.
What they call us? They look at a mark. They suck.
wow.
They
Yeah.
get
Wow.
26, 21, some crazy ass shit.
I seen somebody they got over. It was like the percentage was like over 2,000% is what they were paying over.
Are you?
I believe it.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
I think
You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking I got a nice car. That's all you're thinking about, and I'm able to pay for it. You're not worried about the fact that you're paying for like 8 years, whatever.
And you can't go in debt. So they know that you can't, right? So it's like you're gonna pay.
Oh, they used to love allotments. Just
Oh,
look
yeah.
for an allotment. It's coming out the check. You won't even think about it.
This sounds.
You won't even
familiar.
think about it.
It sounds familiar because I know the post office offers a lot of stuff, and it's kind of
Yeah,
sounds like it's kind
the
of
government, right?
it's
So,
close to the same thing.
Very
Wow,
similar, yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I never even thought about that aspect of
Yeah, but that's when
military
I opened
life.
Yeah, that's when I opened up my eyes. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
With something
Yeah.
always trying to.
They feed as they would tell us like coming like in boot, leaving out. They'd be like, do not buy a car. They were like, go to the credit union, get pre-approved, get that check, go in there with that. Do not take their financing. And I can't tell you how many of the young dudes that we had that would go in there and they would still do it. And you're like,
Rebellious.
yeah, it's like I ain't got
Because it's so easy. It's that much easier to just go in there and finance through them as it is to go to your
They
bank
thinking
and
it's
come
to
back.
their advantage.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, with you guys being there, what was the biggest thing? I'm not. You said you were in for 8.
Yeah.
I was in for 8.
You were in for 8. What's considered your rank? What was your
E6.
E6? And
Staff sergeant.
same.
I was E5.
E5?
These are E6 boys.
Yeah, but
So
your rank was.
Your rank is different, right?
Well, yeah, but it was called different, but it's still the pay and everything else. Because I got out after 5 years, so I did 5 years, and I did after my 5. Let's see,
So the number attached to it is how long you were in.
no. That's how much you're getting paid.
Nah,
That's how much you're getting paid.
Okay.
Your grade level.
Are there some people who go in and don't advance at all?
Oh,
No, as
At a certain point, you have to advance.
Exactly,
Exactly,
'cause
they kick you out.
Okay.
Like you too dumb. Like if you can't advance, the time frame that we give you,
you phased
Yeah,
out of
something wrong
elementary
with you.
school.
You gotta go.
You're 14. You can't be in the 5th grade again.
yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah.
you gotta go.
Can't
All
be
right.
that that start player no more.
I'm trying to buy another car. With you being in, kind of tell us about the experience that affected you. It didn't have to be in a negative way. The experience for you during your military time that kind of affected you, and you took that with you going into civilian life.
Oh man. Oh, go ahead. No, you
good?
Yeah.
For me, it's just being 19, 20 years old with a child, and those things that you have to do as an adult, mom and dad aren't there. So when I have to go sign up to get my water, or my lights turned on, or to go find an apartment, paying that apartment, every month, or paying the lights every month, having them turned off because you neglected it because you doing too many other things. not that you're busy at work, but it's just that you're not used to
still
paying bills.
19. You
Right.
don't know how to juggle.
Exactly. So juggling those and
So there's not
that
any
experience.
help from. There's no guidance.
It's usually well, for me there was an NCO that can help you, but at the end of the day,
Once you get it
it's,
established or done,
right.
like you get the lights turned on, it's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So things like that, things that you just don't know when you graduate or when you leave your home, things you just don't know that. Like, okay.
Life skills.
So you probably figured you would have had to deal with all that kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's just
being a
different when you're
civilian.
not at home. So
Yeah.
you're miles away from home, so it's on you. Especially when you have a family. It's like you gotta take care of your family.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
My daughter, she told me that. She was like, in school, we don't get the life skills. And I'm like, well, that part of it, we're supposed to teach you that as parents. That's not supposed to come from the schools. And
You're exactly
I
right.
think a lot of people think that the schools are supposed to teach your kids everything. And I'm like,
Nah.
You would think you got a kid that's a college. you got accepted. You want to know some of
You know
this
some
stuff.
of this stuff.
Your
Yeah.
taxes.
Yeah.
Mine was well, it was similar to growing up and how to signing up, how to get a car, because my mom and dad ain't gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically on my own at 19. I'm at a house, but there are some good people.
Right.
And this is where I learned. I didn't know, like, you're on a football team and you got those guys that are good leaders or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those usually
Those,
end
man.
up. Yeah.
So this is where I found fucking great leaders
Yeah.
in the military.
Yeah.
Like, that awestruck me. That not only the way they handle themselves professionally, but the way they spoke. And the times that they battle for you, and they taught you a lot of things.
Just
They didn't have to.
Yeah,
Like
just the
things
human-
like you said, things that you're doing personally
Yeah.
that they didn't have to do it. They got their own families
Yeah.
that they can deal with.
Yeah.
But they took the time to teach you those things.
Teach you
Yeah.
life skills.
Life skills, yeah.
Yeah, and then just.
And that's the thing I do as a
That's why I do miss.
I say that part I miss. I say because even with advancement in the military, right? In the civilian world, everybody's competing and trying to step on you, right? Whereas in the military, you're training your replacement, and you know that you're planning on going someplace else. At least for I don't know if you're saying. I say,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you would go to bat. Like for us, we would go down there and go talk to the as an E5, go down there and talk to the chief of the boat who was an E9. Be like, look, I need my nubs in the shack right now because they're going to be replacing me. It's like, oh, you're going to be here. I say, I'm not re-enlisting. These guys need to know what they need to do. What they need to do. I need to transfer this knowledge. In the private sector, that was one of the things that was hard for me on understanding was that a lot of because I had it going into it, and then it's like, oh, I got adjusted to it. Then I come back, I'm like, man, this sucks. Is everybody's trying to train you? It's like they're trying to data dump all of their knowledge
Yeah.
into you,
Yeah.
and even like you talked about with the even on personal stuff, things that they might have done that have been wrong or whatever, or things that they're there for you. It's like I remember for me, I don't know if it I came in with a family, so I was like, let's say I was 24, 25 going in, and I was like, man, I'm having a hard time making it. They were like, go get food stamps. I'm like, man, look, I got a paycheck, and I had three. I had an E6, an E7, and an E5 all sit me down and go, I know you have your pride. You're here. The whole purpose is, I said, you're getting a paycheck. The paycheck that you're getting as an E5 is not enough to take care of a wife and 3 kids. You need, this is what it's there for. And once you don't qualify, you'll get off of it. And I had to have them sit there and walk me through it. Like you talking about, take the time out for me and walk me through that process, get my pride down. Cause I'm like, I get a paycheck. There's no reason I need food. And they're like, no. But that level of them I hate saying like this, but holding your hand and going, okay, here's how you do your job. But then in addition, here's how you do your job. Here's some things that you need as far as life skills. Yeah. You might not think you need. I know in society we say food stamps bad, great, okay, got you. However, for where you're at right now, you're gonna need them temporarily. And once you get to E5, E4, E5, you'll be fine. But for right now, go take advantage of this program. And here's how you go about doing it.
When I was an E2, tried to get food stamps. E2 with 2 kids and a wife. It wasn't working. we did not get food stamps. We did not. This is off topic because this is just dealing with the way they structure everything. But we were not making enough money, and they would not give us food stamps.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
I was in Connecticut. They definitely has a.
I was already upset that I'm in the military and I have to get food stamps, and now when I apply for it, I can't get it.
They didn't. Did your E5s and E6? Because I'll be honest with you, I was upset about doing it, and not only was I upset about doing it, but they actually held my hand. I shouldn't say help. Well, they walked me through the process.
What you need to do.
Here's what you need to
put on there.
Here's what you need to put on there. Exactly.
Right.
I said I walked back and I told my ex, she's my wife at the time, but I told my ex, I was like, look, this is what they're telling me. She was like, okay.
Yeah.
It's like this is. I said we need to stay.
The family. Yeah. Okay.
And she was like, boom, done. I said she made it happen. Yeah. Exactly what they told me was exactly how that
what
happened.
You need to do.
Yeah. I say
Very common though.
Yeah.
Not to mention, right? Well, I'm not getting the political side.
That's what I'm saying, but it's happening right now.
This is happening right now. I mean, think about right now. You got 7% inflation, or it could be possibly be running away. Shit's getting expensive. I'm fucking the E1 or E2 with the family. I can't afford shit.
Right. But you make too much money to get food stamps.
You're making too
but
much
you don't
money,
make enough money to support yourself. So
and it's not like you're not working.
and
you're working.
And you're working
you
hard.
Sitting at home not doing
but
shit.
you're losing money too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the old commercial for the Army was we do more before 6 a.m. before most people do all day, right? So it's like you it's not like you're not working and it's not like you're not working hard. It's not like they're gonna toss on busy work on top of it and collateral duties on top of that. You're working.
Right.
And then it's like, but I also need to, in serving my country, I also need some assistance.
Right.
You're taking advantage of the system.
I came in the slogan of, what was it? Be all
Army
you
of
can
one?
be. Yeah,
was
Army
Army
of
of
one.
one, huh?
I was Army of one.
Yeah, I was be all you can be.
Be all you can be.
Yeah, I was be all you can be.
Hey, I was.
That was a while ago. That was a while ago.
Yeah, that commercial might have been in black and white.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get in that John life in the army. Yeah, I'm laughing, but a lot of people, some people had issue with the name of the podcast, the title that we call the show. It's called On the Job Training Podcast. It's a euphemism for just life in general.
Yeah, but
Because there's no blueprints on all of this. There's no blueprints to being a parent. There's no blueprints to a marriage.
Nah.
You enlisting in the army.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there's little things that you have to learn as you go along.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that just like at the post office, until you actually run that route by yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't count somebody holding
That's
your hand
why
all
I
the
call
time.
it on the job training.
Yeah.
They can train. You can shadow somebody for 3 months until you out there.
Yeah.
In the dark at 9:30.
I didn't believe you.
Bringing back points. Yeah.
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I remember Andre was this was this was the first person I met when I came in, and he told me like, "Oh man, you're on Canada 71." I was like, "What's that mean?"
Hey, I give it to a real man.
It was hard for you? It was tough?
Oh yeah, when I first started, it was a tough.
That was my first route.
Yeah, it was. I was coming in late. I was coming in like what you saying, like 8, 9, and then one time, I had to do, RCAs, you have to do extra.
Yeah.
And the latest I've ever been. I never would have believed them. So you can come in one day at 11. Sure enough, I did come. I didn't get out of the street at 11 o'clock.
Is that Christmas time?
No.
Just a regular.
Just a regular day. No, it was crazy. No, I'll tell you how
It sounds crazy.
That
sounds crazy.
No, you can ask Markel and Jacoby. I went to go do Route 5, and then I had to take half of Route 2.
Oh, you did extra.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I remember that day specifically.
And my truck broke down.
Yeah.
And I know those guys are sweethearts, man. I love those guys. Yeah. It's like, are you sure? And my pride got to me. I was like, because they're already done. And then they brought the truck out with me, and Jacoby took back Markel, I think, or one
Actually,
of
if
them.
you want to take some.
Yeah, they asked me, like, are you sure you don't want it?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that pride is something else.
yeah, my pride got to me. I was like, nah, man,
Yeah.
I'm good. Man, I was crying like a little girl, man. I was like, I was like, man, I wish my brothers came back. Oh man, yeah. I just looked at her like, yeah.
Hey, Camille told me the same thing. She was like, hey, you have to push that pride to the side. Because she was like, do you need some help? I was like, nah, I'm good. She was like, Man, you got like 5 trays left. It's 5 o'clock. Go ahead and take 2 of them.
You don't even look at him. You
It's just like,
go.
go ahead.
Because my mom, she used to do postal work, and that was one thing she used to talk about. Like, sometimes she would get off real late, and I didn't understand it. I was like, it's the same all the time. She's like, oh, yeah,
Nah.
and she was like, nah, because you talking about she would get upset because some of the people she said, I don't know, you guys might understand the terminology. She said that she used to like to run her routes, as opposed. She said some people they really slow on her. She said, but she would run her routes. She said, and then you would come in and you would help out the other people. She said, and one of the things that used to upset her was, after she ran her routes and you would go in and you would help people, she said some people would take advantage.
Yeah.
Was the
Oh,
issue
yeah,
that she
they
had.
got that too.
She said,
Like the opposite of us, where we were like, we don't want to give anybody something.
right.
Somebody may have 5 trays and ask you to take 3 of them.
That was what she
And
said.
then they get back before you do.
Or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's possible.
You come back in, they been gone for an hour and a
They done
half.
went home. You helped them.
It sounds like they have mastered the art of delegating. That's what they should be in a managerial
they should be
position. They can delegate.
Definitely.
Hey, I wanted to touch on a story that you had told me a long time ago about you. I don't know where you were at this point in your religious journey, your spiritual journey, but you told me there was an incident with you and a tanker, and where you found God. Man, I think that's a
No, no, I literally found. No, he found me. As I said, I was saying, you always hear it. There's no atheist in
The foxhole.
in the foxhole. And I always tell my testimony. And it's my journey was, I was raised Catholic, and so I knew I was going to war, and they told me I'm going straight to combat. I was like, cool, but I was fucking scared. And in my first, I go to boot camp. They train me. It's about, I think, 16, 17 weeks as a 19 Delta scout. And then I get my orders report to Fort Campbell, 101st Airborne. Needless that I know, I didn't know anything. I just want to go to war like an idiot.
Right.
And,
I want to serve.
I just want to serve, get there, get payback, whatever. Now, inside, you're really scared. But you want to do good. And so, this is where I'm getting a little bit faithful, but not where I am right now. And because you have that arrogance as you're young. You feel like when you're young, you feel like you're Superman. Nothing's ever gonna happen to you. Right, and I think a lot of these kids get lost in that phase. But I went straight to war, and it was eye opening to me. And I have my combat stories and whatnot, but the most greatest one was finding God. And I always tell them that He is real, and I know y'all can call me crazy. Everybody out there can call me crazy, but my testimony was, it was my second deployment, and it's we're off a shift to kind of our day off. And we had to go to our FOB. It's a forward operating base. This is where all the logistics is at. The Haji shops, or the markets, and then the American markets, like you got the Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, the PX. Everything's there. And your mail, the most important thing, because something great that somebody writes to you. Fuck on email. When somebody writes a letter to you, it's like the most gratifying thing ever. Find out, like. Yeah,
it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
Like your
It's
letter.
tangible.
It's tangible. You know their handwriting, and those handwriting.
They took the time to do that.
Yeah, and it brings out their personality and their love and all that. And you
loved one is on the other end of this.
And they send it to you, and they send you some goodies and some good, wonderful people. And a shout out to Sue if she ever listens to this. She was like my second mother out there.
Wow.
And so I'm out there. And it's our turn. So we run 4 truck convoy, 4 Humvees, and we attach a trailer. And we always go at night. to go to. We're out on a JCOB with the Iraqi army, and this is the new operation of the Sons of Iraq. They call it the Awakening or the New Awakening, something like that. I can't remember. And so on that time, we're training them and also helping them, and they're helping us, whatever. And we're on a JCOP, a Joint Coalition Outpost, all the Army acronyms, and so we have to go to the FOB. It's a big base, again, with everything. So we're going on a convoy on the lead truck, and we're running a skeleton crew, basically a 3-man crew. You're supposed to have 4, at least. It's just me, the gunner, and the truck commander, TC. And you're supposed to have a dismount, at least 2, a full truck. But we have little manpower. So, plus we're like, we're just going to haul ass, go get the shit. Nothing really happening. We look at the report before we go. I was like, okay, the route's cleared. Because they clear out the route on Tampa, MSR Tampa runs up north and south. It's like I-45 going all the way up to Dallas. Because Iraq's geographically about big as Texas. Mm-hmm. So, or imagine 59 going up and north of Texas. Or 45, same thing. So you have the EOD people that clear the route. And there's nothing on the road.
Yeah.
And they clear it before we got out there. So we're like, okay, route's clear, let's go. So we're going and we're hauling ass there and getting all the crap, laundry, all the food and everything, beans, bullets, and mail. We're coming back out, and so we go through a serpentine, cause you come in serpentine, I guess the security checkpoints, and the FOB's big. Get the stuff, coming back out. Serpentine back out, and then I'm about to hit Tampa going south, and our JCOB is about I want to say about 15-20 minutes away.
Yeah.
As I'm getting on this road and about to hit going south on Tampa, I shit you not, I have these headphones like this. Me and you are talking, like all of us are talking. And like a microphone, but it's right here.
You're able to communicate with
them
too.
And this voice comes clear as day. It says, don't turn the wheel. There's a bomb right there. I'm like, I'm on the steering wheel. I'm like, say, what the fuck? Like, I'm like, I was like,
and ERD.
no, I looked at, I'm like, there's no fucking way I just heard somebody. Other than my friends. Because I know Miller's voice, I know Meshuggah, but this voice was like a majestic voice. This was like a clear running water, like you hear in the Bible. I'm like my spirit just like, something inside me, I'm like, holy shit. Yeah. Like somebody powerful just spoke to me. And this one, I'm like, I had to clarify this. I was like, Miller, did you just speak to me? But I know Miller's voice. Mm-hmm. And he's like, nah, Sergeant P, I didn't talk to you. I was like, Meshuggah, did you talk to me? Meshuggah is like this Minnesota A guy, like, hey, nah, like, Miller's this Ohio kid, you know these accents.
Right.
And this voice, I never heard this voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. I was like, I think I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever. I shook it off. Boy, as soon as I turned that fucking Humvee wheel, I fucking set out the bomb. Set out the ID. This fucking thing was no shit right next to me. Like, I'm in the driver's seat, and it's right here. It's a 155 round, this big. Well, this is where I found out from the EOD guys. This is the miracle of fucking craziness.
This explosive was attached to what you were the
tank. I said it all.
It's 115 round, 115 millimeter.
Yeah, 105 millimeter rounds. It's a fucking big thing. This thing is this should kill me. I should be dead. I shouldn't even be here. This is where the miracle comes in. This is where EOD said, like, how the fuck are you alive? And that's what they literally told me. Because they had to go investigate how I triggered it. So when I triggered it, I turned the wheel, I set it off because it was a pressure plated.
You hit the edge of their pressure plate.
Yeah, hit the edge. There's positive, negative, and it set it off. Like I pressed down on it by the tire, and set the electrical signal to the bomb to set off.
Oh wow.
So it was buried in the median of the highway, and they put it there, and on top of it was armor-piercing rounds.
Oh wow.
Dushka rounds, armor-piercing Dushka rounds, basically the equivalent of their 50 cal on top of it. So the craziest shit was that the bomb set off. I filled the. Do y'all want to hear the funny version?
Whichever version
We
you
want,
feel like
we
giving-
want
yeah,
the
yeah.
good one. We want.
All right, y'all gotta hear the. So the bomb sets off. I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm on the top. I'm like, holy shit. So I did. There's a bomb there. And I'm like, and then you go through all your, everything just starts clicking as soon as fucking you get attacked. And the halon system comes off. Basically, if there's any fire or anything, it explodes off because it feels the signal. So I'm just covering on this. What's that shit called from the fire extinguishers?
Yeah.
That's the halon system. I'm like
Anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. Basically, any fire, whatever, to put
Flame
out.
retardant. Yeah.
And then Miller's on was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, dude, I think it hit a bomb. I was like, and it moved the whole fucking front of the vehicle. I felt the pressure of it in my legs. Miller's on the truck, was like, "Son, people, we got hit." I was like, well, first he goes like, "What the fuck was that?" I was like, I think I set off, I hit a bomb. And he's like, shit. I was like, I can't see shit. And then Meshuggah's on the TC is like, he's like, hey man, you guys all right? I was like, yeah, I'm good. I was like, check yourself, man. It's dark, but you have to do hand motion. You check for bleeding or anything because you're
shocked at
adrenaline, it's pumping. So and everything's in slow motion, so I have to calm myself down. And I'm checking myself, looking at my gloves, and there's nothing, seeing if I have any blood or feel any wetness or anything like me. And Meshuggah's over there trying to call up that we're fine, but we're disabled. Vehicle can't move. And he's asking me if can I punch it, can I get off the X? And I was like, I can't punch. The engine's dead. And it's done. And I was like, shit. Hope it's not an ambush out here in the fucking whatever. And he's like, and he's trying to get a radio signal. And he's like, hey, we're good. And I was like, he's like, Luis, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm good. And Miller's on the gun. I was like, Son P, hey, check me. And he's on the gun. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, let me check you. Because he has to be up there, see if anybody's on the gun. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, let me check you. And I was like, all right. I was looking at him. I was like, I'm good. He's like, Son P, check my dick. I'm like, what? I'm like,
He's on priority.
He's on priority. You have to check the dick. So I have to fucking go up there. And I'm like, yeah, you're good, man. And then his little smart ass comes over and is like, damn, Son P, your hands are strong, man. Like, motherfucker.
Yeah, a little levity to the situation.
Yeah, I was like,
I know we almost died, but at least
I was like, you're good? I was like, yeah, we're good.
Appreciate the hand job.
I was like, oh my God. But after that, yeah, we're all good. And then we call up, I think Apache troop comes out there. And they do an outer perimeter. And there's Iraqis out there seeing how this was out there. And we're thinking that we got set up by the Iraqis, the army, that put it out there since they're out there, possibly. And they set out a perimeter, and we're in the inner perimeter waiting for EOD to see what's going on. Because this is right outside the fob, and they have a huge blimp with this surveillance with night vision. I'm pretty sure some of them even have thermals.
Yeah.
And so they don't know how I got there. And Apache troop is suspecting that platoon, suspecting it was probably them. Or it's like, there's no way, because it got, but possibly it was somebody that just dropped it, because I seen it where they just, in a matter of seconds, they can dig a hole, drop the bomb, and go.
Yeah.
And they don't even know. Like, somebody can say, I have a flat tire. or whatever, and in their vehicle they open a compartment and dig it and put it there.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, and then they go, and so EOD comes over, and this is the craziest part. He's like, they uncovered the bomb. Now I got pictures.
Yeah, and post at it.
You send me the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can actually put, if you have them, I can send me an email for
Yeah.
them. I can put them up.
Yeah, most definitely.
So the bomb set off about 2.5 foot hole diameter, big one, and what's crazy is, as an investigator, how I set it off was like it shredded the whole tire and shredded the whole front of the vehicle and moved the whole vehicle. But the craziest part was Miller was on top and I'm right here. So he's really exposed. He's out on the gun. I'm really exposed because I'm right next to the motherfucker. And what was so nuts when how it got set off was that it's like he says like, this is no shit. I never seen this in my life. It's like, this is the experts. These are the EOD explosive guys. These guys go to a lot of training. This is their sergeant.
Bomb squad, got you, yeah.
And he's like, it's like, this no shit is a miracle. I was like, I never seen this. So I never seen this ever in my life. It's like somebody is watching over y'all or you. And it's like, I was like, well, explain to me. I was like, you see this right here? He's like, it is. I never seen this bomb go off like this. He's like, all the bombs I've seen go off, they go like this. It looked like somebody put their hand or
Covered that side.
cover that side.
Yeah.
Cover that side and blocked where you are, he is, that guy, and not let anything go that way. Behind you, where the other rest of the convoy was. But it like somebody covered on top of it and like a shield and exploded
Everything that way.
that way.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, that is fucking impossible. It's like that is
That doesn't happen.
that does not happen.
Right.
I was like, knowing these guys, this sucker's supposed to go like pepper you and go everywhere.
Right.
And that's why I got out of the fucking vehicle. I'm like, holy shit, there is a guy.
Divine intervention.
There is a divine intervention.
Yes.
And it was a crazy. And you'll still see. I'll show you the pictures where those rounds didn't move. The armor piercing rounds did not move.
So all the shrapnel they had
All the
planned
shrapnel
didn't do
Didn't
anything.
even do it. Just punched the tire in front, and that was it. And Miller, he even does. I was like, holy shit, how am I alive?
Wow. So did that change you?
But that
from
changed
that
me
point on?
forever.
Yeah.
And I always tell people this testimony.
Yeah.
I was like, I heard his voice. He is real.
Yeah.
And boy, is he powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
And that ain't nothing. But what dawned on me is that as you read the Bible, he knows the beginning to end.
All right.
And that means he knew what was ahead of me
Before you got there.
before I even got there. And I'm like, there's a Lord. He's almighty, all powerful, he's all glorious. And boy, glory to be to him.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude. And that was nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I believe him very strong. I mean, I'm not perfect.
I know,
I'm a
no.
sinful.
That's
but,
real.
But that
Definitely real.
that happened to me, and it was the most crazy experience I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, these are some of the subject matter that I want to get into. We'll talk about religion, family, but yeah, it's wonderful hearing your testimony.
Yeah.
And I always, that story always touches me, man. And you know, this is what this show ultimately is gonna be about, man. Like getting to know one another, connecting with one another as we go through this journey called life, man.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's really important, especially with the last couple of years dealing with COVID and all of that.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you understand a man's story, then, you know.
Well, it's getting to know people, right? That's something that we need to make sure we get to know. As like, all of us have these stories, and like that is
Yeah,
a
we
very
all-
powerful story that you just provided us. I mean,
It was a great experience. I mean, a tremendous experience, but but I think it speaks to all of us. I mean, because all of us have dreams, and then those dreams become visions or these visions become the reality of what happened. I mean, you just like you wake
And
up.
I imagine you would go through that experience 100 times over to come out with the clarity that you came out with. You
Yeah,
know, once you find God in that space, like that's invaluable.
yeah. It's like I know there's a lot of people out there and there's a lot of different views, but I'm just telling you, it is what I had experienced and what I seen and people around us just unexplainable. Just nothing short of a miracle that happened to me. But hearing his voice, I was like, that was crazy. But it was it brought my faith in stronger to him. Growing up and having a family, and you know, asking for his forgiveness, to forgive me and his mercy and his grace. And I know this life is hard, and people have it a lot worse than we do.
Yeah.
I mean, all around the world, people are hurting.
That's true. I call them first world problems. We have a caller. I see that. I heard the boop.
No. I think they're wanting to here in a minute, so we'll see. This will be our first caller on the show. And now that you mentioned that, so with this show, we want to have it be as interactive as possible. So we want this is our show. Hold on, let me get our first caller in. So let's see.
Well, you don't have to put. Is it on Bluetooth so we can hear him?
I have to answer it, I think.
Okay.
Let's see. Hello.
Hello. Have a caller there.
Here, I'm gonna.
Let's try to see if we can get him to call it back. Sure that we're still set up here. We're good. Yeah. Let's. Is there a Bluetooth setting?
Yeah. Here we go.
Income.
Here we go.
Are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello. How are you, man? You're on the job training podcast. You are our first caller. Can we get a round of applause? And how are you? You want to introduce yourself?
Stephanie Foster.
This is Stephanie Foster, ladies and gentlemen.
Working at Kingwood Post Office.
She's a coworker of my Louise.
I thought it was some rank that came in front of that name.
Yeah.
Hello?
Go ahead and give it to the people.
Command Sergeant
There it
Stephanie
is.
Foster.
Hey, one more time, because I don't think the people heard you.
I said Command Sergeant Major
Oh,
Stephanie
yeah.
Foster.
And we really appreciate you calling tonight. And it's fitting because you are a high-ranking officer in the military, and I know you do a lot for veterans and just a lot for people in general. Tonight's subject matter is the transition from military life to civilian life, and ultimately you being in the postal service. But one of the questions that we're asking Cory and Luis today, what were some of the factors that led you in your decision to going into the military initially?
Just not wanting to go to college at that time. I had basketball and tennis scholarship, but just my senior year was like just crazy because boyfriends and just home life and the stressors with growing up with a drug addicted and alcoholic mother, and not having the guidance that we give our kids today from the things that we've gone through in our past. And that's what led me to my decision.
Okay, so you were cognizant of all of that. You going in and were you just seeking kind of direction or structure? Sounds like.
No, there wasn't any type of structure. I just wanted to travel. That's why I went in.
Oh wow,
Honestly,
wow. Okay.
I wanted to do that. It wasn't anything about the structure. Wasn't anything about the job I chose. Because the reason I chose my job, which was Apache mechanic, I worked on helicopters. I chose that job because they said I couldn't do it because I was a female.
Gangster.
Damn, that's a G. Right
So,
there.
so you were an Apache mechanic.
Yes.
How did you like that? What was the experience like of being an Apache mechanic?
It wasn't bad because I didn't have to fly in it because it's just a two-seater, um, and you have a book that tells you everything to do step by step, so you can't go wrong.
Hmm.
And that's what they encourage. Just like the carriers going out and doing a PMCS on their vehicles, although they don't do it, and they should. That's one of the things because you have a manual that tells you exactly what you look for step by step from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, yeah. Stephanie's one to play no games. Yeah, like she's like, take no shortcuts, no BS, no excuses. Do the job.
You're right.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question because there's a level of ignorance on my part. What is Command Sergeant Major? Is that an E7, E8, E9?
E9. Think, right?
E9.
E9. Okay. And you were in charge of the entire command or the entire troop there for the Apaches, or how did that work out for you?
No, I'm actually still in the reserves, and I actually take I have a change of responsibility, which is like a change of command for officers. Being a non-commissioned officer and a sergeant major going to a command sergeant major position, it's just uh, leading a battalion or a brigade of soldiers.
Does that interfere with your work at the post office at all? Being still in the reserves?
No, it doesn't. It actually gives me it probably affects the post office because I do enough at the post office for about 5 people. So when I'm missing,
That's
it
facts.
seems like things get done a little slower probably.
Facts.
So as you're doing this job, like I said, sometimes you'll be missing, sometimes you're not going to be there. Have you already reached the 20-year mark? Or are you working on a 30-year mark? Where are you at as far as that process?
I've been in for 33 years.
33 years. Is
Oh,
I have 15, yeah, 15 active duty, and then the other 19 reserve.
Does that impact your retirement at all? The difference between active and reserve, and then also being in, I guess, a uh, government employment opportunity with the post office.
You can actually buy your time from the military and add it to the post office. So it's like you're kind of double dipping, should I say, as far as retirement.
Okay.
Um, the cost isn't that much, but it is. It's worth doing.
Okay.
And as far as the impact is as far as the retirement. It the longer I'm in, the better my um, retirement check will be, and that's why I'm still there. Plus, I still enjoy being in the military, so that's first and foremost is because I still enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy it, I would probably retire.
Okay.
She's still having fun.
Still having
Yeah,
fun.
we have two males here, two men. But tell us from a woman's perspective, you being in the military, still currently, how has that changed your outlook on life in general? Just your experience being in the military, you coming out, like your worldview. How does it change the way you look at today's society?
Well, today, I think a lot of the younger generation is um, more into the electronics. So when it comes to getting back to the basics, as far as I'm gonna say map reading and stuff like that, they're so they're so dependent on like MapQuest and Waze and stuff like that. So if they didn't have a telephone or the phone went out, they wouldn't know what to do.
My girl
So
telling her age. She
being
say MapQuest.
that's a
It's on your phone now,
Wait.
Steph.
Go back.
Hey.
So you being a mother and you kind of having these things in the back of your mind, is that difficult juggling those aspects of just military life, mom duties, you're a wife, like all of these things? Do you have a difficult time? Because it sounds like you ain't struggling with any of it at all.
I'm I really am not. I have three beautiful girls, three beautiful ladies, should I say, um, that I believe being in the military has helped me structure them for society because anything that I have learned, I've actually taught my kids. And they all know how to change tires. They all know how to fight, and if they were to get in a position of having to defend themselves, I'm not talking about boxing. I'm talking about more of the jujitsu part of it because I did teach combatives, what we call combatives, for 2 years, and they were always around me during that time.
Oh, wow.
My kids have been a part of my uh, career. And anytime that I go somewhere or have done something when they were real small, I would actually fly them where I was at and they would learn something. Even like the classes that I've learned, whether it's first aid or suicide intervention, stuff like that. And with them and their lives, they've actually touched and saved a few people themselves just by talking to them from some of the things that they've learned from me.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
So, being an Apache, I'm going to go back to that military aspect of it. I say so being out there and you're still active. What does that work? I guess the work output look like on reserves dealing with as an Apache mechanic.
Well, let me go back. When I was on active duty, I was a passenger mechanic. Now I'm what we call a 88 mic, which is a truck driver. I'm
Okay.
in the transportation field, so that's what I do now.
Okay. All right. So you switched up, and that was once you went from active to reserve.
Yes.
Is there? I guess the question here is there no Apaches out here to work on once you're in the reserve? How does that work out? Why the switch? I guess.
When I left active duty, I actually lived in Beaumont. I'm from Ohio, but I was stationed at Fort Hood was my last duty station, and my husband and I at the time, he had a job in Beaumont, so we moved to Beaumont when I got off of active duty. And the closest Apache unit is in Conroe, which is like 2 hours from Beaumont.
Okay.
And there's a transportation company there in Beaumont, so that's why I chose to change the field.
Okay. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Okay.
Hey,
And that goes back to not having any guidance. You know, if I knew what I knew then, what I know now, I probably would have took the 2 hour drive.
Well, let me ask you a question. Earlier, as I was talking to the other two veterans we have here, Luis and Corey, we were talking about I guess not just the transition, but the experiences of being in the military. And one of the things we talked about was needing assistance and the help that the leadership provided in the military for specifically for uh, younger military personnel. Was there any type of issue like that with you, where maybe there might have been a food stamp issue, like one of the things that we discussed, something like that that might have happened with you at that time?
No, I've never had any food stamp issues or um, I think the only thing that I needed was like AER, I mean the Red Cross, um, because my grandfather had passed away
Yeah,
and I
I heard
needed
about that.
to get home.
Yeah.
My uncle had passed away,
The Red
and I
Cross
was in
provides that
Germany.
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh wow.
they has a
Yeah,
even in the Navy we
we
had a
act,
guy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
Because we
that's the only way that you can get from anywhere is to
Yeah,
You
send
gotta
a
get
Red
them
Cross
meds.
message,
Right.
or
yeah.
if you
I
need
think.
to contact.
I'm sorry. I think his question was kind of referring to you just being young in the military and in life in general. What Corey and Luis had said that there were some people who kind of gave them some insight. Like I guess they were older
Yeah, and
Yeah.
older NCOs,
officers.
like,
Is there somebody who was influential in that aspect who kind of helped you along? Is there anybody in particular that you like to, if you had to think about it, like, you know what, this person really helped me out during that time where they gave me a little bit of guidance and it wasn't just, like the title of our show is on the job training. Like they actually showed me how to do this and this, and it really helped me along, and I was able to pass that knowledge on. Was there anybody? Because I know you are the person who
Oh
does
yeah,
that for everybody else, but was there somebody in particular who did that for you?
yes. It was my first. Well, he actually wasn't my first sergeant, but my first duty station was Germany. And when I got to Germany, I was the only female in a CAV unit. So that was scary because I was very timid at that age, and I don't want any type of gallery over there because I didn't say anything to anybody. So I was very passive. And the first sergeant, he actually took me into the office and told me that being a female in the CAV unit, I was going to have some difficulties. And I couldn't understand it because what he was saying was that I was pretty and that I was a female, and that right there were two of the things. And on top of that, I was black.
Mm.
So those were going to be my three factors that would either make me or break me. And
So
from that day, it was like he and his wife had took me in as like godparents, and they would come to my because I played basketball for the post team, so they would always come to my games. He told me he challenged me to make my E5 in 3 years, which is like very difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
And because our cutoff scores, we have cutoff scores, and our cutoff score was 998, and it stayed that way. But I made the challenge, and I was like, well, how am I supposed to do that? And he was like, well, I could show you better than I could tell you. So any
Wow.
school that came up, he would put me in the school. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, I just got back. And he was like, he said, what did I tell you? I was like, yes,
so
sir, sorry.
That's
he
And
treated you like you were in
right
Missouri, huh?
now, yeah,
The show me state, I'm gonna show you.
exactly.
that's
Yeah, that's
awesome, man.
it.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody with a lot of wisdom who foresaw
some of the potential.
not only the potential, but
Mm-hmm.
he I'm gonna say he kept her busy, but he made her focus on what
Yeah,
was important.
Yeah.
You know, wow,
exactly.
yeah,
Well, let me ask you this question: I know from a minority standpoint, as far as being black in the military, are there any challenges specific towards being a woman in the Army in the Apache Company that you might have faced that a male would not have faced? And if so, what were some of those challenges, and how did you overcome them? So I guess it's three questions in one.
Well, I'm not just gonna put it as a package because I do trucks now, but just as a
You know what? I hate to stop you, man. This man needs a ride to see these helicopters because he'd mentioned this Apache thing.
Yes.
If you can coordinate, facilitate some kind of field trip.
Deep in my heart.
Hey, man, this man, he wants to see this helicopter, man.
I'm gonna tell you an Apache story off the air.
Okay.
As a from a naval guy
No, I'm
talking about Apaches.
I'm just joking.
There's a joke in there that's an off the air joke that I have to share with you.
So, boy, don't even look at these. You ain't ready for this.
You're gonna laugh. Trust me on this one. But go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steph.
Make sure you tell me the joke when I come to work on Thursday.
Okay.
Most definitely. I'll probably call you back up and let you in on the joke as well.
Okay. But being a female and being a black female at that, and now being a black female with a voice, because then I didn't have a voice. I had one, but I never used it. But being a female is very difficult. I'm gonna say difficult because you're always challenged. It's like everywhere you go, any unit that you go to as a new beginner, like I'm about to have a unit starting this weekend, and I'm new, so it's like some black female. Well, I'm gonna say some females feel that they have to stand up and show that they're the ones that's in charge. But the challenges come because we don't really feel that we're valued. Sometimes they'll just push you to the side, or you can say something and nobody hears you. But somebody else, a man, will say it, and it's the same thing. They just use different words. But oh yeah, that's a good idea. So it's kind of downplaying.
So is that
Me
one of
as a
your is that one of your main factors for you staying in this long, because you finally made it to the point to where you can implement and make a difference? Is that why you stayed, so those young ladies or whoever would be receptive can hear you and what you have, the knowledge and stuff that you have now? Is that one of the things that motivates you to stay in, or is it just fun for you?
I was both really,
Yeah.
because I don't just affect women. Women, when they look at me, they you could just see their eyes light up because they can see that it's something that we can achieve as black women, or just a woman period. It's like, oh wow. But I usually get a lot of black females that will pull me to the side, and they'll be like, "Oh, Major, I just want to shake your hand, just because I'm a black female at that rank,
Sorry,
and that makes me feel really good inside."
let me cut you off right there.
We got Luis Pulido asking you a question right now.
No, this is a life experience I experienced.
Okay.
You know when they say, because I worked, post office, you worked with all different colors and races, and when they say don't make a black angry woman mad.
A black man mad.
Yeah, black woman mad. Have you ever seen a command sergeant major black woman mad? Holy fuck. Dude, the level of it. It's like when the post office says, no, I seen worse. I can only imagine, it's 10 times worse.
There's some heat radiating in here.
A nuclear bomb going.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we really, really,
And
we really appreciate you.
Funny that you say that, Louis, because I had an incident. We were in the field, and Sergeant Majors hate for the trash to be full and running over. And I told him one morning, I said, "This trash can is full. So y'all need to take it out." They'd be like, "Okay." So I come back in again, and the trash
I
still
already
sitting
know.
there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I already know.
The trash is full. We need to get it taken out.
Oh,
Hey,
my.
yes, I know. So I took the top of the trash can and just threw it on the floor
I knew it.
and walked
I
out the
told-
door.
Well, guess what's next?
That comes behind that.
Yeah, that sounds like talking
and
to
after
my
that
kids.
day, I ain't having a problem with the trash.
You,
But
you
it,
didn't throw your phone
so there are some times, even like with the pandemic and not wearing masks and stuff like that. And I'll tell the soldiers, okay, you need to put your mask on, just like I do at the post office. We're like, you need to put your mask on. And then I'll go out, and a little bit later, I'll come back in, and they don't have the mask on again. I said, I'm gonna say this one more darn time.
Nah, that ain't what you said.
I said, if I
Say what you
see
said.
you,
Say what you said.
if I see you without your mask,
Yeah.
I said, you gonna get some paper. You're gonna be right there in my office. I said, I don't have we already, I said, it's mandatory. It's mandatory to wear it. It's not hard. Just keep it up, you know. But I can be that bitch, but I don't want to because I shouldn't have to,
You're right.
you know. And that's where that mad black woman syndrome be coming in that you think because shoot, I done told you 2 times already now.
Yeah, but there's a
you want me to
difference in
get
the
all
military,
upset
though.
and angry.
Yeah.
This is
That's when we get
radiant.
angry.
Yeah.
It's
We got a bad
another
rap.
level.
Steph, we really appreciate you being on the show, man, and giving your voice. I know there was some stuff you want to speak on specifically about help for veterans and things like that. Can you go ahead and disseminate that info?
Yeah, well, the thing that I wanted to say is, you know, and it's not just veterans, it's everybody because I'm a true believer of mental health, you know, and I used to just talk to people, and now one of the questions that I ask is, how's your mental health? You know, and every time I ask that question, anybody, whether it's a military person or a civilian, they just look at me and be like, I'm not doing too well. And we have to ask those questions, just like people that have suicide ideations and stuff like that. I'm trained in intervention, and I used to think that I could save everybody. You know, when I went to class, I would tell the teacher, I said, well, I think if I could just talk to them, I could save them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but when somebody's going to complete suicide, it's already set in their mind. There's nothing that anybody
Yeah,
can do to
I agree.
actually save them because they've already given that, you know, they just given up totally and completely.
Yeah, they've already made their
And
mind up.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
So I know
so
you guys being out. Do you guys ever run into ex-veterans who are having a tough time? Is
Yeah.
that
Oh
something
yeah.
that
That's
happens?
always.
All the time.
it's
Yeah.
always
And
been.
what's
It never
some
goes away.
What's some of the advice that you give them?
I'll be honest with you. If I'm being fair, I say you guys are probably a lot different than I am because I think I'm a crap human being, but I normally don't. I want to just listen to what their issues are because I know that all of us have different issues and we have different ways on how we approach it. And what works for me might not work for you. It might not work for you.
Right.
And so me giving my perspective, I can give you that perspective on it, but what I can't do is give you the advice on how to fix your problem, right? So
or the answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say because like Luis and Cory and yourself, you guys were all